Sometimes when doing a podcast, your guests aren't always able to connect in the way that you would like to. Tonight's episode was recorded using a different software than I normally use, so my audio doesn't quite sound as perfect as normal. So I hope you forgive me. But our guest tonight is Dijo Thomas. We come all the way from India. We had some connection issues, so the lighting on the video portion of this episode is not the greatest as well. So I do apologize, but it's a wonderful conversation, and I hope you enjoy it.
Welcome back to Miss Monsters and Mullets. I am your host, John Methenkamp. On today's show...
Shall we start now?
Yeah, we're going to start. I'm going to do my little intro.
Okay. John, you can please start.
Welcome back to Miss Monsters and Mullets.
One more thing. Am I in the correct position of the camera? Am I in the center?
Yes, you are.
Okay. We can start. Please start.
Bigfoot Christmas, stomping through the snow tonight. Oh, Bigfoot Christmas, fuzzy hat nose Christmas lights. Monsters and mullets tell the story, let it play. It's a Bigfoot Christmas, keep the cocoa on the sleigh. Yeah. Radio by the window, laughter in the room. John Methenkamp is talking about the things that go boom. They say he's in the forest, rocking red and green, dancing with the monsters like a merry, hairy dream. Bigfoot Christmas, stomping through the snow tonight. Whoa. Fuzzy hat those Christmas lights. Monsters and mullets round the fire, let it play. It's a Bigfoot Christmas, let the legends lead the way.
Welcome back to Miss Monsters and Mullets. I am your host, John Methenkamp. On tonight's show, we have Dijo Thomas, all the way from India. I had to get up a little early this morning, so our times matched up. But Dijo, he has been studying cryptids in India. So Dijo, why don't you introduce yourself to my audience?
Okay. I have been studying wildlife and cryptids since my school days. I love wildlife and forest very much. Nature enchants me. So during my very young age itself, I was very much attracted to the mysteries of the wild. I used to read a lot of books regarding wildlife, nature, along with the world classics and all. When I was about the age of 5 to 10, I think I finished reading almost all the main classics in the world, like Oscar Wilde. Most of the classics I read at very young age, because at that time, from my 5th age to 10th age, I was in Nigeria. I was staying in the quarters of the Munjibar Teachers Training College. That's one of the important colleges in Kano State. And there was a library for the bigger students, that is college students. But I was only 5 years to 10 years of age. But at that time, I used to borrow books from the library and read it. The subject which attracted me most was wildlife. And I come from Kerala in India, which is a very beautiful place, one of the most beautiful places in the world. And the forest in Kerala is extremely beautiful. One of the most beautiful forests I have seen. We have different types of topography in Kerala. Along with, after I shifted to Nigeria in very young age, so I had the opportunity to see and study the contrast between the lush green Kerala environment and the almost desert topography, that is extremely arid region, because Kano state is very close to Sahara desert. So I had this opportunity to compare both and study both. So this and along with my inborn love for the nature, I started studying wildlife cryptids like that. So this is how I came into study of wildlife and cryptids.
So how long were you in Nigeria? How long were you in Nigeria then before you went back to India?
Yeah, actually, I was there only for 5 years. That is from first standard, the age of 5, till for about for fifth standard. That is age of 10. By the age of 10, we came back to India. And I joined a school in my home place, which is called Kottayam in Kerala. That is almost the south central region of Kerala. And by that time, I had already developed. It was a inborn nature to me. So I was deeply interested in the nature, as well as I had a research mentality even then. So in Nigeria, the plants are non-existent. Uh, Shrubs are mostly there, and some trees are there. So I used to go and study all these things. On two times, another professor in that college presented me with a tortoise, uh, as well as a pangolin, but I didn't keep it for more than a few hours. I released it into the wild itself. So like that, I started studying the little wildlife, and also once I remember a huge vultures, size little bigger than me at that time because I was a child, came very near to our quarters. So I went very near them, and I was very much scolded for that. And I was not at all afraid of these vultures, which were bigger or even bigger than myself, and they were huge birds. They came to eat some dead carcass. I went very near them, despite I got scolded for that. But I went very near them and started studying. Then during my college days, I had the opportunity to evade the class, because in college it is not that much strict. So I used to evade the class into the naturally beautiful regions. There is a bird sanctuary near my college, 10 kilometers away. It is called Pomeragam Bird Sanctuary. Salim Ali, the famous ornithologist, he had done researches in that area. So like that, I used to cut classes and escape into the nature. For me, that was more enchanting than sitting in the boring classes taken by good teachers, but somebody else's experience. I wanted to experience it all directly and learn directly.
So what you're saying is I should have skipped class more.
Pardon?
I said, so what you're telling me is I should have skipped class more.
Obviously, why? Because see, we learn a lot from schools and colleges. I will never deny that. That is the base. But my opinion, because of my experience, is that, see, here we can ask a question. I think many people would be asking this question. Now my discovery count of main cryptids stand at 11. The latest my discovery, I announced it 1 month back only. That is called Kuravan elephant. There is a undocumented, totally new species of elephant. New mean it was not at all discovered by any biologist or scientist till this date. Actually, I discovered it in my school days. That is a big topic, but I announced it 1 month back only. I named it Kuravan elephant. It is 25% shorter than the average Asian elephant or Indian elephant. And it has a lot of specialities. Maybe you have seen the pictures in my blog or my Facebook. This elephant, this is my discovery. The question comes here, why all these biologists and other scientists were not able to discover all these species which I discovered? Actually, I am a very uh, very young researcher. in the if you take the time frame of 300 years when zoology and science developed, I am in the last stage only. So you can call me a young researcher or scientist. But why all these scientists in 300 years were not able to discover all these species? There are many reasons. One is the scientific approach is a very different thing. It answers your question also. That's why I'm speaking about it. It doesn't exactly related to what you study in a college or school. Actually, that is important because you get the sorry, you get the base there. I'm speaking very loudly because there are some disturbances around. So I'm in a park now. So I want you to hear it properly. So I am little raising my voice. Everyone goes to school, everyone goes to college, but they are not able to. And after that, they go to masters, then they go to PhD, but they are not able to discover anything. The main factor is that the scientific ability is different from person to person. That is a fact. Because I want to put it plainly out in the open. This is not something which many scientists would tell because they don't want to take a higher stand or anything, because that is not the proper way. But the another thing why I am saying is that, so there may be many people who want to do some research on science. For them, I am saying this so that it will help them. So scientific ability is something natural, and that may not be common, but that is one thing. The second thing, which is important and which is related to your question, is that if you sit in a school or college and study everything, you will be able to go till the level of what is written in that text, which was written, researched and discovered by someone else, and that is the maximum that that person can go. But if you want to go further, if you want to discover something by yourself, then of course you will have to study everything which is already available, then discard it. You may be surprised when I say that. Yeah, you have to discard it, and then you have to study all these things by yourself. Then only you will be able to get a valid scientific discovery. Because if it is already known, it cannot be your discovery. So if you want your discovery, you have to leave the school, leave the college, everything back, understand that their relevance is only till this point, and then you have to go and further study it by yourself.
So I need
Yes.
to tell my wife that I need
Yeah.
to just forget everything she ever told me and go out and find it on my own.
Okay, I don't have a problem if you tell her that, but that would be at your own risk, and I won't be liable for any consequences after that.
So anyway, so you skip class and you go out into the forest.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that you started noticing or discovering?
In the forest, you mean?
Yeah, the first thing, the first discovery that you made.
Okay, I will speak about Nigeria. See, when I was a child, I was shocked by something which I saw, which I never expected. See, the place where I stay, it is called Munjibar. That is about, I think, 10 kilometers away from Kano city, which is the second largest city in Nigeria. It is a good place, very good people, a very harsh but enchanting environment. I loved it. And it is mostly highly hot area. As you know, it is near Sahara. I don't have to tell that. The rain would come only one day in a year, and before that there would be dust storms. You won't be see 1 feet away from you, and the dust would enter even inside the locked and sealed houses. And the dust will be from the air. The dust storm would be covering the whole area. Nothing. Everyone would go inside at that time. Immediately after the dust storm, rain would come. That would be little bit heavy rain, and it may last for 1 hour or 2 hours, and that is the only rain that you will get in a year. Otherwise, the water is supplied by the college authorities from far away. So this is the nature of the environment there. And though it is not in the forest, it's in the wild, still related to nature, surprised me first in my life was, see, there was a plant. And usually you won't notice this plant. You will notice this plant but it will not have much leaves. Very few leaves. It will stand like dried up. It will be only 1 or 2 feet high from the ground. Immediately after the rain, within 1 hour, this plant would flower. Beautiful small flowers, but it will flower within 1 hour of the rain. Before that, this flower would not be there. Even though you will never notice the bud. So I was shocked how this plant would be able to flower a few hours, 1 or 2 hours after a rain, a violet flower would come. And I was astonished how this plant could produce a flower within this much hours. So this is one of the first shocking things which I learned from the nature. And now going into the forest, when I entered the forest, I understood it was entirely different from the environment that you see around. See, I study energies also. Energy means energies which are not visible to the eyes. And inside the forest, the energy level would be very high. So that's how I define a forest, especially Kerala forest. Energy level of a countryside and inside the forest will be entirely different. And actually, this is what strikes person when he enters the forest. But obviously, most of the people won't be aware of this fact, of this energy fact. And this energy is extremely high in the forest. You can call it even spiritual energy. It's related actually. Spirituality is not something connected to a religion alone. Actually, that is only the basic level. Religions are the basic level. In the higher levels, there are many things regarding spirituality. And this energy inside the forest, actually, that is something spiritual. So this spiritual energy inside the forest is what surprised me the most.
So you go to the forest and you're feeling all this energy. What led you to find, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but the cat. Yeah, the cat.
Okay. The Pogain, which I send you the picture, you mean?
Yes, the one that you sent me.
The Pogain. People knows me mostly for the discovery of Neelagiri Kaduva. Kaduva means tiger in Malayalam, which is as big as tiger, and which is the common ancestor of cat family, dog family, and hyena families. A lot of media reports have come about that Neelagiri Kaduva. Then, secondly, and mostly I am known for the discovery of Chupacabras. Which the top scientists in the world were saying didn't exist. How I have discovered first in India, second in America, third in Sri Lanka, like that. Now I have discovered Chupacabras in 5 or 7 places. It's about 7 places. The last one being in China. The Indian Chupacabra I named Rakta Adiga. Now the latest is Kuravan elephants, which is a new species, totally new species. New species means it didn't occur newly, but it was always there, but it was not discovered by the scientists. So Kuravan elephants, that is my latest announcement. Actually, this discovery of Kuravan elephant happened during my college days. But coming to the Poge, which you just mentioned, that is an extremely interesting cryptid, and it has such abilities. The first main cryptid that I ever heard of in my life was this Pogain only. And how that happened was that in my native place, Kottayam, while I was in college, I used to, as I told you, I used to go into somewhat distant forest where I can go and come in a single day. And other beautiful places. Kerala has a lot of beautiful different topography, like vast paddy fields, Vembanad Lake, which is a Ramar site. Like that, we have a lot of, and the most important being the Western Ghats, the Sahyadri Mountains, which are majestic mountains. So we have all these. So I used to go all these places. Then I learned that there is a nature society in Kottayam. It is called Kottayam Nature Society. Occasionally, meetings are held almost once a month, and once in a year, this Kottayam Nature Society holds a bird count. Vembanad bird count, it is called. It covers almost 10 huge areas categorized into different groups. We cover and do the bird survey because millions of migratory birds come to this place during the season, and you can see a lot of like whistling teals. They all come from thousands of kilometers away. So this Kottayam Nature Society conducts the bird count, things like that. So due to my huge interest in nature, as soon as I heard about this society, I joined it, and I used to take part in the programs whenever I could. One day, we plan to go to a Kuttanad, which is below the sea level. Actually, there are vast paddy fields which are below the sea level, and so once we decided to conduct a tour to the Kuttanad, where huge paddy fields are there below the sea level. It was actually they built dikes and developed this area from a watershed which were underwater. So then they started cultivating during the farming times in the early last century. So we as a lot of migratory birds would come there, we planned a trip there. So we were going to that area. We were traveling in different groups, and I was in a car with a person called who is all organizing this Kottayam, mostly organizing this Kottayam Nature Society programs. And along with us, there was a wildlife warden. He's a Kerala government official in the forest department. I think at that time he was a DFO, a district forest officer. That is a middle level officer. And mostly these career forest department officials, they may not be too much involved in wildlife conservation and all. They do it as a job only. But this person was different. He loved forest and wildlife very much. So this DFO was with us, and he was speaking about his experience. And then he mentioned this pohen. He told that there is a cryptid called pohen in the forests of Muna, and many people have seen it. This DFO also has seen it directly. So he was telling, I was really shocked, and I was enchanted by this pohen. So he was describing it. It was something like a cat-like. So it was a little bigger than a dog. He was explaining its nature. So I think one time he told, I think if my memory is correct, he told me that he himself has seen it multiple times, but this was never recorded or no photographs existed. So in the car, actually it was a more than about 1.5 hour trip. So we were discussing this pohen, its possibilities, things like that. I was a very young fellow, so I was not at all an expert. So I was mostly listening the conversation between these two senior fellows. So I was very much enchanted by what they were speaking. The shocking thing is that, or the amusing thing is that, at that point of time, I never imagined that I would be the one to discover this pohen and to scientifically prove this pohen much later. At that time, it never crossed my mind that one day I would discover this very pohen which they were discussing. The tribals there. Actually, the Pohane is the name given by the tribals of the high altitude region of Munnar. Munnar is a hill station, high altitude region where the temperature goes minus. There in the night, this Pohane would come, and very rarely only they would see it in the daytime. And later, another person called Sandesh Kadur, he did a documentary on Pohane in BBC. The name of the documentary is Mountains of the Monsoon. So in the focal theme of the documentary was this Pohane. He claims that he has seen it directly. Anyway, there were hundreds of people who have seen it, and many newspapers reported this Pohane also. They have given reports of the Pohane. Among my discoveries, the first cryptid, major cryptid that I ever heard was this Pohane. And later I would go on to discover this Pohane.
So you mentioned the Chupacabra. Can you describe the Chupacabra for my audience?
Sure, I would very much love to. Because Chupacabra is an species which fascinated me a lot. See, I don't have to tell you all the top scientists in the world, including the major universities like California, Texas University, Harvard University, all these universities, top scientists were saying that this animal doesn't exist. There are multiple reasons why these scientists, all so-called researchers, actually many of the people who claim to be scientists are not really scientists. Actually, that is the crux of the problem. I don't want to belittle anyone, but still we have to say a cat is a cat, a elephant is an elephant. You cannot say a cat is an elephant. So that thing is there. And the exciting, so it is because most of the researchers are not scientists, though they themselves claim the title of scientist. It is not so. The correct definition of a scientist is that if a person has discovered a new species or something very new and something very important, and then scientifically proved it. That's the most important thing. Then scientifically proved it, then only he can be called as scientist. Otherwise, you can call him, if a person is doing a research, he is below the level of scientist, he is a researcher. Then there is the PhD people. This PhD is one of the most biggest deceptions in the world. I don't want to hurt anyone's feeling, but why I am forced to say all these things is because nowadays the researchers as well as PhD people are causing a lot of harm to cryptozoologists and the science of cryptozoology, zoology itself. As you may very well know, you are a researcher yourself, so you know the situation of Bigfoot in USA. These people who claim to be academics and scientists who are not scientists, there are two types of researchers. Researchers who are correct and researchers who are wrong. So you have to classify it in that way itself. So these wrong researchers who doesn't have any discoveries and who doesn't have the aptitude, they are creating a lot of problem for the real researchers and real scientists. So it is imperative that we should classify and quantify what is a real scientist, a real researcher, and the PhD fellow. And actually, this PhD fellow is not much of importance. The PhD means that a person has studied for 2 or 3 years a particular subject and mostly have not discovered anything. That is the correct definition of PhD. Actually, my article on the definition of PhD is upcoming. So you would be surprised at how much far we are away from these things. So now I have to tell all these things because of Chupacabra. So all these top scientists were claiming Chupacabra doesn't exist. It was only because they were not able to do a proper research, understand the important facts. Then
I want to give a quick shout out to Elite Mounts in Salina, Ohio. They make top-notch 100% American-made tool organization gear that fits just about any brand of handheld power tools, batteries, and chargers, along with other specialty mounts for your home workshop needs. You can check them out at elitemounts.com. And the guys over there were nice enough to offer a 10% discount for all my listeners. Just use the code Bigfoot10 at checkout. Enjoy the new episode format thanks to Elite Mounts.
Scientifically, understand the important facts, understand the scientific facts, and then discover this Chupacabra. Sorry. That is the only reason why these people were claiming that Chupacabra doesn't exist. So see, this topic is related to the topic we discussed initially. Another reason why Chupacabra was not discovered by all these researchers, including Ben Rafford, was that, see, Chupacabra, this is the fascinating fact. Now comes the fascinating fact about Chupacabra. Chupacabra is not an ordinary animal, ordinary mammal, or even an ordinary cryptid. It is an amazing creation of evolution. Chupacabra has some abilities which are absent in most mammals. The top among them is the ability to hide, which I have named as stealth ability. Actually, this is an important point which many of these so-called academics and so-called researchers don't understand. And that's why they are saying that Bigfoot don't exist, Chupacabra don't exist, Ness monster, Nessie. I am almost sure that Nessie also exists. And even Neelagiri, in the case of Neelagiri Kaduva, though now it is accepted after my discovery and scientific proving, and after fighting for it for a long time, why all these researchers are not able to understand? Why they are not able to understand about cryptids is this one factor, the stealth ability. About this one factor, the stealth ability. See, the one factor which they didn't understand about the cryptids was this stealth ability. All these researchers were very mistaken in thinking that, see, every animal would be as visible as a cow or a cat. That is not the case. The cryptids, they are especially adept in hiding themselves and keeping away from human beings, much more than other wild animals. For example, wild pigs, though they are more smaller, the stealth ability of a tiger is much higher than the wild pig, even though tiger is much larger in size. Meaning, if you go into a forest searching for the tiger and wild pig, you would be able to easily spot the wild pig, even though it is much smaller in size, whereas you won't be able to see the tiger, which is much bigger in size, mainly due to the difference in the stealth ability. So this is the stealth ability, because tiger knows very well how to hide away from the humans. So in a dense forest, it is very rarely you would be able to see a tiger. Not even a dense, semi-dense forest. If it is even if it is a dry deciduous forest, it would be much difficult for you to spot a tiger. Whereas it would be easier for you to spot a deer or a pig. So this is the stealth ability. The stealth ability of Chupacabra would be many times over than even the tiger. So that's how I would put it. And that's how we should understand the stealth ability of a species. And Chupacabra is exceptionally good at it. And in America, we have the dog-like Chupacabra. But my first discovery was in Thrissur district in Kerala in 2016. That is my first discovery of Chupacabra. There, for many decades, the news was coming in newspapers, in the local section of the newspapers, of many and chicken being killed in the night, and the blood drained. Only the blood would be drained. There would be 2 holes in the neck. The flesh would not be eaten at all. There won't be a wound on the body. Exactly like the case in Texas and as well as the South America. The same reports were coming, but the only thing is that Whereas the reports from Puerto Rico and Texas became world famous, these news reports were noted only in the local section, not even in other districts of Kerala. I didn't know about this Raktadiga till the moment when I went to Thrissur district while I was researching Neelagiri Kaduva there. And only I came to know that such a animal is there which drinks the blood of goat and chicken. Even then, I never thought that. I thought it would be some other known species doing this, and maybe the people were mistaken. That was my initial thought when I heard it. But when a strange animal was obtained in a cage and the photos were sent to me, that time I was in another state called Tamil Nadu. I went there to release the news of my first discovery of Neelagiri tiger or Neelagiri Kaduva. So some journalists here immediately sent me the photos there, asking whether these photos are the cub of Neelagiri Kaduva, the animal in that photos. I was shocked and I exclaimed, "Hey, this is nothing related to Neelagiri Kaduva. This is a clear kangaroo only." Because when I saw the photos, the moment I know that this animal is something very much related to kangaroo, I was shocked because see, there was no reports of kangaroo anywhere outside Australia. Not to say anything about India. So kangaroo is only related to Australia. And when I saw a kangaroo-like animal in Kerala, I was shocked because the place where this animal was obtained is in the village place, not in the forest. It's far away from the forest. And here the stealth ability which I spoke of earlier comes into play, because even in a village area where forests are not there, of course there are forests like some plots of land would be there. There are paddy fields, mangroves, where lot of places where this animal would hide, and Neelagiri Kaduva also would hide because the stealth ability of Neelagiri Kaduva is also very high. So I was shocked that a kangaroo-like animal is there. So then I went back to Kerala. Then I studied the photos very thoroughly. And then I released the news within 3 months after writing the scientific article. The initial scientific article comes to 12 A4 pages. Then I went to the place where it was obtained. I interviewed the eyewitnesses, the person called Vishwambaran, in whose house this animal was obtained. I collected all the details, and he told me that this animal was very aggressive. So like that, after that, through my method, F3B NSPM method, I scientifically proved that this is a new species, and this species is related to kangaroo. And I will confirm the relation to Chupacabra only even more months later. About this, I have to say something about this F3B NSPM method. F3B NSPM method, the full form is facts, features, factors, etc. based new species scientifically proving method. If you go to my blog, my website, everything, you can see the definition, everything. So this is a new method which I invented for the first time in the world to prove a new species without either photos, specimen, direct sighting, taxonomy, or DNA test. Why? Because, see, getting a sample for a DNA test of an extremely rare species like Chupacabra or Neelagiri Kaduva is almost impossible. So, and secondly, even after, in the case of Chupacabra and all, that all the labs in USA and Europe, except one lab, were wrong. Either purposefully or unintentionally, they were wrong. For a cryptid, if you want to scientifically prove it, DNA test method is not valid. To prove a cryptid species through DNA test is something almost impossible. And I would say that all the scientists till me were very wrong. They did a very wrong thing in not developing an alternative method for DNA test to prove a new species, especially a cryptid like Chupacabra. Then after further studies, I studied the Chupacabra attacks in America. Then it was very plain to me that this is also a chupacabra only. I named it Recta Adiga. That Indian chupacabra, I named it Recta Adiga. Recta means blood. Adiga means multiple because it has multiple features and it drinks the blood of goat and chicken. It doesn't eat flesh at all. So I named it Recta Adiga. Then almost half a year later, I presented 2 scientific papers in 1/4 Indian Science Congress in 2017. Indian Science Congress is the largest congregation of scientists anywhere in the world. So I presented a scientific paper in 1/4 Indian Science Congress before all the top scientists in India. Simultaneously, I released the news to many newspapers and also spread the word of this discovery of chupacabra around the world. And in 2017, I scientifically proved the existence of American chupacabra theoretically without photos. So, and in 2019, I released the further news about American chupacabra. Also, I did a documentary on American chupacabra. And in 2024, after a very long study, very intensive study of many months, day and night, I was sitting and studying American chupacabra. Then finally, I released the discovery of American chupacabra, officially declared the discovery of American chupacabra with photos. And after that, I released the markings of the American chupacabra. Morphologically, I marked the specialities of American chupacabra and proved that the scientists and the labs were wrong when they said that the American chupacabra was a mix between a Mexican wolf and a coyote.
So excuse me, how are you able to prove the American chupacabra based just on the photos?
Actually, it is quite possible. See, the problem was that nobody thought till that point in time that a new species could be proved through photos because they always thought that initially, even before the DNA test, because DNA test is a recent development. So even before the DNA test, there was only one method. You have to get a specimen, then dissect it, then study the bones, the muscles, internal organs, all specialities. You have to study it with a specimen. And then only you can prove a new species. That was the methodology till the DNA test came into place. And DNA test is only a recent development of only about 10 or 20 years. Only DNA test came into play and this much important. Before that, you should have a specimen. But nobody thought of proving a new species with photos. Actually, that is the most prudent thing to do, especially cryptids. Because see, cryptids won't stand there for you to come and pick it up and put it in a lab and study. No, cryptids won't act like that. For one thing, the numbers would be very less for a cryptid species. That is the first biggest problem that you would face. The numbers would be very less. It would be very, for example, if you take the American chupacabra, the numbers would be something between, I think it would be between 10 and 20 in the whole of United States. In South America, there would be even more, but it will be something corresponding to this number. So the maximum number would be between 10 and 30. Right? It's a rough estimate, but it would be like that. But if you take a Mexican wolf or a coyote, it will run into thousands, I think. The exact figure is not in my mind. Maybe you would know. If you know, you can please tell the number. Anyway, it would be in the thousands, I think. This is a very important factor which we should understand. Because for a species which the numbers is less, the chances, the probability of getting a live specimen is almost non-existent. Because the chances of coming across a live specimen is almost non-existent. And secondly, if you come across a live specimen, say in the wild, you should not at all shoot or kill that specimen because it's a very rare species. So, so it doesn't make sense, and it is against the all sort of common sense that you should kill a very rare species in order to prove that this species exists. So, so all the tops biologists, researchers, so-called scientists, top academics of top universities, all were very wrong, or they were incapable. A big wrong act as far as science is concerned when they didn't develop an alternative method to prove a new species other than DNA test or having a specimen. It is a if we sit and think for 10 minutes, once I say this, it is only prudent that they should have developed an alternative method. In the whole 300 years of scientific development of science in the world, they didn't do that. So in the end, in 2014, during my discovery of Neelagiri Kaduva or Neelagiri tiger, I did exactly that. And how it is possible? See, I will explain it in a very simple way, which anyone can understand. See, actually, I have already written articles on the same very topic. I have already written. See, suppose you see an animal. I will say how it is possible. Suppose you see a photo of a very rare animal, then you can be very sure that this animal is a new species with the photo alone. And I will show you how. Suppose you are getting the photo of an animal with the body of an elephant, head of a lion, and which is bluish in color, which they got it in the deep forest of Congo. Let us say in the deep forest of Congo, they get this photo. And anyway, it is not a AI photo or anything. That is a new development. And the group of people took the photos, and they are very trustworthy people. There is no question about the authenticity of the photo. The photo is authentic. Suppose let us imagine that there is not at all a question about the authenticity of the photo. Suppose you get a blue elephant with the head of a lion and other features which are very different from the ordinary elephant. Anyway, no elephant would be bright blue, or this elephant is blue. Leave the bright thing. This elephant is blue with the head of a lion. So you can definitely understand that by looking at the photo itself, we can understand that this is a new species, especially if we get the photos of multiple individuals of the same blue elephants with the head of a lion. Because we first of all, we don't have any doubt about the authenticity of the photo. The photo is clear, and they are getting for the first time deep inside the Congo forest this animal. So if you take that photo and if you compare it with all known animals of the world, especially other elephants, then it is very simple to prove that this is a new species. Exactly this is exactly the logic behind my methodology F3B NSPM method to prove a new species. What I do is that if I get a picture of a new species, then I point out the blue color of that photo. So to say, I am putting it that way. And the lion headed of the elephant in the photo, the head of the lion, I point out to the head of the lion on the body of the elephant. And then I point out to the blue color of the body. Then I point out that all other elephants photos are different from the non-elephants are not like this. It's different. And there's no chance of a cross between a lion and an elephant. So this is a new species. However it came, it may have hidden from human sight. That's the only thing. This blue elephant has hidden from the human sight. So if you are able to point out that the morphological specialities in the photo is very different from any known species in the world, then clearly, and of course, if it is not bred in a lab or a crossbreeded or anything, then that animal is clearly a new species.
But yes, I understand that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, but if you have any counterpoint or question, please shoot.
My only question would be, what if it's just a genetic mutation of a known species?
A very good question. Mutations are there, genetic mutations are there, of course. There is no doubt. But the way the biologists claim that all the new species are genetic mutations is something very funny, actually. It is, we can call it only funny, hilarious. Why? Because, see, you can easily understand a genetic mutation and a new species. For example, golden colored cheetah. Golden colored cheetah is there. That is a genetic mutation. How you will know that it is a genetic mutation? Just by the photo, I can prove that it is a genetic mutation, because only the color would be different in a genetic mutation. One factor would be different. All the factor would be the same as the base species. Right? Am I right?
Yeah, and that's the way I kind of believe the same thing. You might see one thing that's different, but you're not going to see the head of a lion on the elephant with the different colors.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear you say the same thing I was thinking.
If you have a counterpoint to what I say, you are most welcome to say it. Because in science, see, just because a person says it, or even if a established scientist says a particular thing, it is not bounded on other people to accept it blindly. So when I say a poet, if you find a logical lapse in it, you are most welcome to say it. But I would be only very happy to have a discussion or debate on that point. You are most welcome. So if you can point out any counter to my points, you are most welcome. So on this regard of this genetic mutation, suppose you take an animal. Mostly the mutations come in color. For example, there are one of the most common and easier to understand genetic mutation is a panther. A panther is a leopard whose melanin is very high, that its white color is not at all visible. So it will appear totally black, as you very well know. Same with the case of jaguar. So you can call a panther as a mutant of a ordinary leopard or a jaguar. And now, how my discovery of species, I have proved that it is not a mutation. I don't have to even, I consider all these things when I do that. But when I write it down in my methodology, it won't be there, because it would come to many pages. For example, for the American Chupacabra, my first part, it comes to 30 A4 pages. It was writing it down itself. It took me about 1.5 to 2 months, day and night, just writing it down in a way that people would understand with all the relevant scientific points. So if you take the case of a jaguar or a leopard, see, all other features would be that of a jaguar or a leopard. For a panther, black panther, all other thing, its morphology, everything would be the same as the ordinary leopard. One point. That is one point only. Second point, you will see a panther mingling with an ordinary leopard. It would be mating with the ordinary leopard, because for them, they understand by smell, sight, and acquaintance for a long time that this fellow is black, is like none among us. By smell and by other things, he is only one of us. We can easily understand. And so they will mate between each other. It will not. And thirdly, see, this is a second point. So this is a very, these 2 points are very valid. even though I have not written it out in my methods. Thirdly, and this is a very crucial point which I am going to say, and you please note it very thoroughly, because this is a very important point. See, the third point is that, and the most important point is that the behavior pattern of a black panther, which is our example, which we have taken for an example to prove the other things are not a mutant species. The behavior pattern of a black panther would not be different from that of an ordinary leopard. It would be same as the ordinary leopard. But whereas in the case of all my discoveries, this is the most crucial point. Morphology comes second only. See, the behavior pattern of the species is very different from the species which they claim it to be. For example, take the case of American Chupacabra. See, American Chupacabra is not something ordinary which you meet every day on the road. It is always in the hiding. The behavior pattern is very different.
You're saying that the behavior is just as or more important than the physical characteristics of the creature.
No, not exactly. I didn't mean it that way. I was saying it in such a way in order to understand this important point, because see, morphology people understand. Behavior pattern is something very important when you study wildlife, especially cryptids. People don't even think of it. That's why I was stressing it, this point. I was never for a moment suggesting that behavior pattern is only important or morphology is not important. Not at all. That is not at all the point which I was making. I was only saying that behavior pattern is something extremely important. Repeat, extremely important when you study a cryptid or a wildlife. This is the point where even the many main top academics don't understand. This is why they are making mistake. I am a field man. I go into the field. I play with tiger. I play with wild elephants, hundreds of them. I have played with hundreds of wild elephant. I play with leopard. I directly play with them, observe them. I study their psychology. I study their behavior, and then I come to all these research findings. I take a lot of risk, which is not visible to the world, because I go into the forest alone. Me playing with wild elephants, hundreds of people have seen, because 3 years I was mostly in Wayanad. I have done it all over South India. I go very near wild elephants, study them, play with them. Sometimes I provoke them, and wild elephants kill many people. Even while I was researching them, in the same forest, wild elephants kill people, but they never attacked me. I am very thankful to them for that. And I love them very much, wild elephants. And tiger, leopard, even though they are less visible and occasionally only you come across them, I study them also. Even without seeing, I can study a wild animal. That is a different topic. So what I was suggesting is that when you study a cryptid, the behavior pattern is extremely important. And nobody even understands this, especially the top academics. That is one of the reasons why they are making all these mistakes. They don't even think of this. So I am saying that these 3 points are important, and behavior pattern is very important. And now I will come to the 4th point. See, food habit. This is also an important variable in my method, F3B NLPM method. See, you have to consider that also. That is also very important in discovering a cryptid species and scientifically proving, especially with my method. See, in Texas, the chupacabra drinks the blood, doesn't eat flesh. In Puerto Rico, chupacabra drinks the blood, doesn't eat flesh. Now, that is food habit. Then in attacking pattern, this is a 5th variable, attacking pattern. In attacking pattern, see, chupacabra makes 2 holes on the neck, and through that they drink the blood. Chupacabra in Texas does that. Chupacabra in Puerto Rico does that. Chupacabra in Mexico does that. Chupacabra in Kerala does that. Chupacabra in Sri Lanka, Russia, everywhere, anywhere in the world, if it is a Chupacabra, it will drink the blood only like that. For a coyote or Mexican wolf, they don't make two holes on the neck and drink the blood and then disappear in the forest.
Correct. Correct.
Thank you very much, John, for asking this question. I'm very grateful for you to asking this question because I was able to explain my methodology, and this is very important. So this will help our viewers in understanding how my methodology works, F3B NSPM works, and why my methodology is now reluctantly and grudgingly being accepted by all these academics, so-called researchers and all, why they grudgingly were forced to accept, so to say, because I did it in a very thorough way, very scientific way. And now coming to this is the fifth point, the attacking pattern. Because coyote or Mexican wolf or any other known wildlife species makes two holes on the neck and drink the blood. Chupacabra does that. That when there is multiple reports of that, and when this happens through decades, through years, then we can definitely be sure that there is a species out there in the wild which feeds on the blood by making two holes on the neck, even though we have not come across it till that point in time. So this is the logic way to think. This is the way a real researcher or a scientist would think. And this is not the way how all those academics, all those researchers were thinking. And that's why they didn't understand anything at all. And they were not able to discover the Chupacabra, even though the Chupacabra was in their doorstep. And they studied the Chupacabra much longer before than me. They were not able to discover because they didn't understand any of these points. Because the reason is that they really doesn't have this scientific discovery aptitude. That is the reason. So, so now I can go on and go on. In my methodology, if you go through my scientific papers, these are only a few variables. I call these variables. These are the factors in my method: facts, features, factors, etc. based no species scientifically proving method. That's the full form of my theory. And these 5 points which I told you, these are the factors. For the 5 variables which I told you, these are the factors. Now I can point out any number of factors on Chupacabra. 6th factor. See, when these attacks are happening, the 6th factor is also observed. John, can you please guess which is the 6th factor?
I can't think. I think to me, you've covered everything.
No, there is, because Chupacabra may not be your main research area. So I will sell it because this is my main research area. So I may know the facts even better. Actually, there is a lot of other factors I can show you or variables. The 6th one, all these animals doesn't have hair on its bone. All the Chupacabras reported when the eyewitness see them, they always say that there is no hair on the body. And some of the Chupacabras which were killed in Texas, when they obtained it, there was no hair on the body. So that clearly correlates. And see, these are points in the other. I was speaking about factors. When I explain it, I call it the points. So this is a point in my method. And American Chupacabra, I proved it, I think, with around 370 points and more than 100 or 140 factors and more than 375 points. I proved American Chupacabra. See, when you prove something that much thoroughly, it will never go wrong. If you try to prove a new species with 1 point and 1 factor, it may go wrong. Of course, it may go wrong. So I do it in a thoroughly professional way, thoroughly scientific way, and thoroughly ingenious way by taking maximum number of variables, and that is factors, and maximum numbers of points to prove a new species, that there is absolutely no way of my discoveries going wrong. That's why, see, if there is a slightest thing which they could hang on, all these millions of researchers all over the world, they are baying for my blood. They would be on top of me saying, hey, you are wrong on this, you are wrong on that, you are wrong on this. Actually, the very intention of the existence of all these biologists and so-called top academics and so-called researchers whom I have proved wrong is the only aim in their life, the only point for their existence now onwards is to prove me wrong, right? You get my. So if they have seen a slightest thing where they could have trapped me, where they could say, hey, Dijo, you are wrong on this. Come everyone, look, Dijo is wrong on this point. They would be not be accepting a valid discovery by me, but they will be surely spreading, pointing out and spreading this thing all over the world by now. Why they weren't able to do this? Because I am that much professional, and that I am extremely correct in my discoveries and the way I prove it. And now coming to another point, I will show you another point also. I have now pointed out, just in a few minutes, I pointed out a total six factors or variables and some points. I will show you another point. See, where this hairless animal is being seen wherever the occurrence of the death of the goats and chicken by two holes in their neck is observed. So you can say in Puerto Rico, if one incident is there and two incident is there, only two incidents, you can say it is a coincidence, right? That could be a coincidence. But when there are 3, 4, 5, 10, 100, more than 200 reports in a few years came in Puerto Rico. So when that much reports are there of animals being killed with two holes on the neck and the flesh not being eaten, that itself is not a coincidence, because no animal would kill a goat if it is a flesh eating animal. It will take that much effort to go into a pen, take that much risk, kill a, and then let the body waste away and not use the body. See, that is not at all logic. This is another point in my method, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's not many animals that only drink blood.
Yeah, one thing, and it is not at all logical that they would discard the body of the victim after taking this much effort to hunt and kill it down, right? That is another point. And when hundreds of incidents like that has taken place, and especially since the two holes are there in all these victims, then it is not at all logical that these animals hunted to eat the flesh. It is not at all logical. When the blood was drained from the body and two holes were observed on jugular vein, that is the place where Chupacabra goes to drink the blood, the jugular vein. So that only means that the particular animal hunting all those goats and chicken down is only after the blood, needs only a medium intellectual capacity to figure this out. And all these, many people, no, I am not saying, I am saying this about the researchers and biologists. They were not able to understand it, but the ordinary people were able to understand that Chupacabra exists, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be, I mean, it's mostly the ordinary people who make the claims and have the evidence of these cryptids. It's not the researchers, because they're not looking for it.
Yeah. But at the same time, the cryptozoologists were correct, because cryptozoologists understands all these things, and they were saying that like Lauren Coleman and other cryptozoologists in America, they're saying that Chupacabra was there, and they were also saying that Bigfoot is there. So the cryptozoologists understand it, but the biologists don't understand it. The researchers in universities don't understand it. The top academics don't understand it. and the so-called government scientists and so-called scientists in main research bodies didn't understand it. So I am sorry to point out that this speaks volume about the intellectual capacity of this fake biologists, fake researchers, fake scientists, and fake academics in the top most institutions of the world, right?
That's because there's a difference between intelligence. There's a difference between intelligence and knowledge.
Yeah.
You can have all the knowledge in
Exactly,
the
John.
world, but you may not be intelligent.
Exactly, John. You are absolutely right on the point. Knowledge is different, and intellectual capacity is different. And initially, when we started, we discussed the sitting in the schools and colleges. I was saying, actually, we are attaining only, as you very well said right now, knowledge in that process. The intellect is very different. And these people, I am really sad to say that these people lack the intellect to understand this, whereas the ordinary people, farmers who lost the sheep, who lost the hen, they were able to very well understand that some animal is out there which drinks the blood of goat and chicken. So now we have to come to another inference. The intellectual capacity of those ordinary people and farmers is high above the intellectual capacity of this so-called biologists, so-called fake scientists, the so-called fake academics in top universities and research institutions of the world. So it really points out to that, and I am not happy to say this, but it's sadly the case.
Well, DJ, we're coming up
Yeah.
on like an hour and a half right now.
Oh,
Would you be interested in coming back on the show?
definitely, John. I would be very much interested in having another show with you, because see, you are a very level-headed person who thinks deeply. I can easily see that, and it is only a pleasure to do a podcast with a person like you who understands all these things, who independently thinks of understands and thinks all these things which we are discussing now. So that is really a pleasure, John. And as you said, it's a 1.5 hours. So we can definitely wind up now, and then later on we can under little more good conditions we can have another podcast.
Well, absolutely. I would love to have you come back on the show. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find your research, and then I will put the links in the description.
Great. Thank you, John. That would be wonderful. My many of my findings, research, scientific papers are published in my blog. There are two important blogs. One is Dijo Thomas Scientist.blogspot. The second blog where I publish my scientific papers, the older papers, you can find it Dijo Thomas Official. Instead of scientist, you have to change it to official. Dijo Thomas Official.blogspot.com. Then it is also the latest of my findings would be published. The latest my findings would be published in my website also, thomas.in, DijoThomas.in. And of course, it is also available in my Facebook accounts and pages. Actually, I have a Facebook page called Rakta Adhiga. The spelling is RAKTHA, Rakta Adhiga, ATHIK, which if you Google Indian Chupacabra, you will get this name. There is a Facebook page called Rakta Adhiga Chupacabra. And there is another Facebook page exclusively for American Chupacabra called just by the name Chupacabra. So please follow my pages also. So all this information I am publishing all through is, then you can see the documentaries and podcasts in various other podcast and YouTube channels. So you can search YouTube also, you will be getting the things. And thank you very much, John, for having me on your podcast. And I have loved watching your podcast, and it is wonderful to have a podcast with you. Thank you very much, John.
Once again, thank you, Dijo. And if you've had a paranormal encounter you'd like to share, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Gotta go.
Once again, thanks to Elite Mounts for the new episode format. If you like this format better than the way I was doing it before, where we do the housekeeping here at the end, let me know in the comments. Make sure you're checking out all the descriptions on all my videos. Down below, you're going to find a list of all my favorite podcasts. Nevermore Hollows, Drunken Cryptids, Chumming with the Spirits, Ghost Gossip, so many great podcasts. I like them. I think you're going to enjoy them. Give them a listen. Myths, Monsters, and Mullets is proud to be a part of Midnight Realm Radio. It's an internet radio station featuring podcasts from the paranormal to true crime that runs 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can find a link down below in the description. I really do appreciate all the support I've been getting over the last couple months. If you haven't yet, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Like, comment, share, tell a friend about the show. That's the only way we can continue to grow. And once again, if you have a paranormal encounter you'd like to share and you'd like to be on the show, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. Good night, everyone.
Shadow in the pines lurking in the dusky air. Bigfoot stomps through the woods like he don't care. Lights in the sky flash green then blue. Aliens descending with a secret or two.